I'm Jason Klom, and this is Comedy on Vinyl. The year is 1970, the album, Pearly, the artist Cleavon Little in the original Broadway cast, and my guest this week is DeEtta West. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me, Jason.
So we are using Pearly as an excuse to talk about one particular person. Why don't you tell me your relationship to that person, and we'll go from there.
He is my wonderful biological brother. I have a lot of brothers and wannabe brothers and a lot of them out there, but he's my blood, my best friend, my kinfolk. He was the love of my life.
Oh, that's so sweet to hear. He's a person who, it's so interesting because if I dig back into Cleavon Little's, I'm sure it's incomplete, but his Broadway database is probably incomplete because I know he did so much stage. Go to his IMDb page. Like, he did enough, but it's amazing that this one role from Blazing Saddles, just for those who don't know, he started in Blazing Saddles and is the reason I know who he is, that has had the impact it has had. And that it's enough to make me need to know as much as possible about the man's life, because there's only so much you're going to get from Wikipedia, and none of that's from the mouth of his sister who grew up with him. Now, he was born in Oklahoma. Were you both born in Oklahoma, or was that later on?
No, I was born, myself and my sister, we were born in San Diego, California. And so Cleavon and my other brother were born in Chickasha, I guess I'm saying it. Some say Chickasha, whatever. Oklahoma. Chickasha, Oklahoma.
Now, were your parents both from Oklahoma originally?
No, my dad was from Jackson, Mississippi.
Okay.
And my mom from Texas, Tyler, Texas. And so they met along the way and built their foundation in Oklahoma. And then from there, I can't remember what got them out to California, but I'm glad they did come on out to California and had the rest of us kids.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you for those who aren't aware, obviously, Cleavon was a performer. You're a performer yourself. Is it just the two of you? Did anybody else in the family perform?
No. My
two.
Other brother and sister worked for the government. So they were like, one was a disability analyst, and the other one, and they worked for the city for when we were in Los Angeles. They worked there. Pretty much that was their career, their lives. Yeah. So Cleavon and I were the only two that went forward in the entertainment industry, and we were close anyway. But I think that's what connected us even closer. Yeah.
Of course. Yeah. What was the first thing you ever saw him perform in? Pearly.
I had to think, because I saw him in I'm Not Rappaport as well. Yeah, but Pearly was the first one, because that was his big one. Now, like you said, there were probably so many other things that he did that didn't make IMDb or Wikipedia and any of that, but those were in his beginning years. But his really big one was Pearly, where he along with Melba Moore garnished that Tony Award. Yes.
Holy cow. Here's the thing, I'm super ignorant when it comes to musicals, even though I grew up on them. Like, unless I grew up on it, there's less chance I would have heard it. This is such a gorgeous soundtrack. I wish I could have seen the show. How must that have been to see him perform in this kind of a venue?
It was overwhelming because, first of all, for us, I mean, I knew he had a little voice. He could hold a tune, but to see him performing Pearly and all of the music that he had to do, and I realized after the fact, not when I say after the fact, when he was in rehearsals and when he was doing, he said, well, you're the singer, but I've got a lot of singing to do. And he said, I need you just to Pray for Me. That was the most nervous thing for him. I think that was very challenging for him, but he accomplished it, and very well, obviously, because he received the Tony for it. So that he was talking about stage fright. That was very difficult for him. So I was just, when I saw it, I'm like, dude, I mean, like, you did that thing. I mean, and you did it, and you were chewing gum and walking at the same time. You were singing and you were moving, and Pearly, you know, he was just doing his thing. So it was exciting.
Oh, that's so good. This is a show that I wish there were. I don't know if there are any like visual recordings of it. We're lucky we have this, because it's not like he was with the show forever either.
Right.
He was, there. Sherman Hemsley's there as well. I forgot to mention Sherman Hemsley, because another person who I don't think of as a musical person at all. So I had no idea. I had zero idea.
Right. He did great too. He was Get Low. That was his role. Get Low. And then of course Melba Moore. She is the voice. You know, she's amazing.
Sure. Yeah. This is so good. Him in this great preacher's outfit with the two patched knees. Just that picture alone is so good. That makes you want to see the damn show. Oh, it's so good.
Yes. It's online. You need to check it out, baby. It's on YouTube, I believe.
Oh, good. Yeah. See, because I saw one clip of him performing. I don't know on what show he was performing, but it was enough again to make me want to see much more.
Yes.
So you're one of those people who got to watch him evolve, not just as a person, but as a performer, et cetera, et cetera. So he came to you asking you to pray for him and his singing. So at that point, so where were you in your? I don't know the age difference. So where were you in your career, in your singing life?
I came out singing. I was born. I think my parents already knew that I was going to be doing something very vocal. I was not going to be an introvert or someone who did, because back in the days, old school, they used to pat the baby on the bottom to get those lungs pumping and to get them to just cry. They said, you came out crying. You just came out like, I am here. I am baby, hear me roar. Because I'm going to be a woman one day and you're going to hear me roar, you know. So that was pretty much, I had been singing all of my life, even before Cleavon went away, when he won, I think it may have been ABC. They had a talent search, and the winner was given a scholarship, and they sent him away to New York and that whole thing. That's how he started. And so I was still in high school when all of that happened.
My goodness.
Yeah, and he is 11 years older than me. So,
wow, okay.
Yeah, so if he were here today, he would be 80. I'm 71. Yeah, he would be 82 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. So, like I said, I was singing when I was in what they now call middle school. They've changed all the names, but in my day, it was elementary, junior high, and high school.
Yeah.
And so I was pretty much in, I believe, junior high school when he started, but I was on stage even during that time, doing plays in school, you know. Yeah, singing the alma mater, singing at the football games. And when I was in high school, I would sing the Star Spangled Banner, whatever. They used me up. They took advantage of me.
You got a voice like that, you got to, kids don't know any better that they should be getting paid, so they're like, screw it, let's fine. Bring her in. Yeah. She can do it. Right. As long as you're getting paid for the Rocky theme, that's all that matters. I hope that's happening. I better still be happening.
It's still happening.
Good.
It's still happening.
Good, because I was looking up your credits, and I'm like, it's popping up. Everyone like, oh, well, I hope she's still getting paid for that. Because
my God, I mean, I got paid very well when I did it, and that was something that pretty much stumbled upon. I believe that I know that we all have a purpose and a destiny, and we've been created on purpose for a purpose, and we have to walk in that. And so for me, when you know that your steps have been ordered and you know that not in arrogance, I say, I have gifts and I am very talented, just like you have gifts and you are very talented and you were born for this. You were born for what you're doing now. Because you love it and you're passionate about it, and it's not something you struggle with. The only thing you probably struggle with is, oh boy, I could sleep, but I know I got to do this interview today. Let me do my research. But at the end of the day, it becomes fulfilling for you. So the Rocky thing was really, and again, like even every time it airs, which it's almost like Blazing Saddles. It's what do we call that? It's what's the word for it when something just lives on?
Like a perennial?
Yeah.
There's probably a better word for it than that.
Yeah. So it is just like Blazing Saddles. It's going to air forever. People are always hitting me up and saying, "Oh, I see your brother and on Blazing Saddles." I said, "What channel is that on?" And it's usually on one of those odd channels, you know. But anyway, yeah, Rocky. I still get those royalties.
Good.
Yeah.
How did that? I want to talk about his career as well, but I am curious about your own. How did you get the Rocky thing, the Rocky 3 theme?
Okay, here I'm going to try to. I'm very chatty and very verbal, as I told you. I've been born like this, talking a lot. But I was working at CBS in Los Angeles, and I was working as a assistant to the salesman to our sales in our sales department. So I was an executive assistant, and working with me, and I had no idea, I just knew she was one of my coworkers, was a woman by the name of Shelby, and her name was Shelby Conti. And so we worked together doing our little, we were called secretaries at that time, but as you move on, they now cranked it up. Now you're an executive assistant. Honey, you're a secretary, okay? But anyway, so we moved on, and so I just remember I would sing sometimes at my desk. I had no idea of her connection. I would, sitting at my desk working, like humming and singing or doing whatever. And I remember one day she said to me, "I'd like for you to meet my husband." And I said, "Okay." Why? Right. She said, "Because I hear you humming around and singing, and I believe you have a great voice." And he's a writer, a composer. He's and we moved here from Europe. Of course, he's Italian. Bill Conti is, and we moved here. And she said, and he's just trying to get his roots going here, because he was very big in Europe, but now it's a whole different thing going on. And I said, "Okay, what did you want me to? Can you just come to my house, and I just want you to sing for him." And I said, "Oh, okay, I'll do that." So that's what happened. We set up a time, and I was very nervous because here is this beautiful Italian man sitting at a piano. He didn't even look at me. I think in his mind he was like, but he did kind of tell me later, after we made the connection and things started. He said, he was like, "Oh God, and my wife, here she goes, bringing home another starlet, a groupie." And so I remember him, because I had told her what I would sing, and because she wanted him to be prepared, because he played for me.
Oh, sure,
yeah. And so I walked in, I stood at the piano, and he stood, and I'm standing behind, kind of on the side of him. He looks up at me, and he said, "You start, I'll pick you up. You start the song." And I remember singing, what is her? Oh gosh, Danny Bell. I think I sang for him, "Killing Me Softly."
Oh wow, okay.
Yeah, and that, because I know it was one, and I started singing, and I kind of saw him, because I wasn't looking at him while he was playing. I just had to find a picture on the wall or something so I could not be so nervous. And I felt him kind of look up at me, and I kind of stopped because I figured, okay, have you heard nothing? He said, like gave an indicate, to keep going.
Keep going. Okay.
And
Love it.
so that was that. And after that, he said, you have a very nice voice. I said, thank you. And I just kind of let it go. And the next thing, he's reaching back to me to go into the studio, and I did some demo sessions for him, which he, of course they paid me for, but I was the voice that he would submit to some of the networks for music to be used on some of their developing series. Or something. Right. And the Rocky thing came when he asked me, he said, I want to use you. I'm scoring the movie Rocky. And I want your voice on that. And I said, oh, okay. So he brought me in and he said, do you know of a tenor? Because he was asking me to help bring some voices in. And so we did that, performed it, overdubbed it. So when you hear, gonna fly now, flying high now, it sounds like a big choir, and it's just a bunch, and the studio, that studio, it was just a few of us in the studio, and they overdubbed the voices, and his wife ended up singing on it because she had soprano voice. So little did I know, here was this secretary that would introduce me to the man who became here, because he was doing the Oscars, the music for the Oscar, he was doing all of that. And then that's when he brought me back for the song You Take My Heart Away. So when you see Rocky, and that's when he had Adrian, and that was meant, he said, I want you to record this. They're looking for a name, but I told him, when you hear this person's voice, I know you want a big name, because originally they wanted to go for Gladys Knight, which a lot of people say I remind them vocally. And so I did the soundtrack, and we did the soundtrack. The song is Touch Me, Take Me in Your Arms, Shelter Me from Harm, Let Me Love You for a Million Years or More. That's when Sylvester had Adrian in his apartment and turned the radio on. And he convinced United Artists, why don't you use her? Of course, it was some good convincing, because they were going to have to pay Gladys Knight tons of money.
Sure.
And I'm sure what they paid me was half of what they gave her.
Right.
So that's my story. That's how it started.
That's nuts. Those are the kinds of stories that I'm sure still happen, but I feel like go back a few decades, it's more common, it becomes increasingly more common. The one example I tend to give is I once interviewed the TV director Jay Sandrich, who's directed some of the best episodes of sitcoms ever. His story was he walks onto the lot of Desilu, asks the guy, hey, you got any jobs going? And he says, sure, come on in. And he becomes a PA on I Love Lucy. It's those kind of stories. Where I'm like, what was Hollywood? It wasn't that for the whole 18 years I lived in LA. But you know what? I've heard enough of those stories where I'm like, okay, well, maybe it's not for me, but I love hearing these stories. I love when something just by chance, but not just by chance, you sat there, you were singing, you were enjoying yourself. You're doing a thing that not all of us had the guts to do, and because of that, that's holy cow. I love that.
Yeah, isn't that amazing? And not doing it to impress her, because I didn't know who her husband was. I didn't know anything about her, per se. So yeah, that was crazy.
That's so funny. Yeah. Let's skip back. What's okay? So 11 years his junior. So to a certain extent, by the time he's in high school and maybe already performing, you're real young. But do you remember did he sing? Was there singing in the house? Did you watch him perform when he was younger, in high school or junior high or anything?
Yes, we used to see. My mother always thought that Cleavon was going to be a preacher man, and oddly enough, he wins a Tony for being a preacher man.
So good,
because
it's so good.
He would be the one that would act like he was preaching and performing for the kids in the community, or he might stand up on the car before he would get in trouble and to get off of the hood, get off of the car. And he would be the one up there preaching and trying to sing, which sounded like he was trying to sing, which later we saw, because I'm sure he took vocal lessons and everything when he knew that he was going to have to be doing some singing for Pearlie or whatever, any of the other stuff that he may have done. So yes, and we knew that he was definitely, like our whole family, a man of faith. But it was kind of, that's where it took off, because we thought he was going to be a preacher, because he would do things in church and to be in plays and different things like that. But what kids, when you're in a churchgoer, you all have the Christmas plays and the Easter plays, so that's not anything unusual. So yes, to see him that, and I'm the baby of the family, and he was basically the oldest, even though we had a half brother, which we never referred to him as a step brother, any of that, who was I was what I'm trying to think the age. He was a broad age difference, but when when my dad married my mom, he was, I believe they told me, 2 or 3 years old. So that's the oldest brother. And then so he passed, he died as well, he transitioned, but he would have been in his 90s. My oldest brother would have been in his, he would have been in his 90s. But the 4 of us from the same mom and dad was my brother Cleavon, who was the oldest from that marriage, and then my brother Roy, who is still alive, and my sister, who is still alive, and then me. So I'm the baby. My sister's 5 years older. My living brother is 10 years older, and he and Cleavon were like just a year apart.
Okay, all right.
Yeah. So. But your question, I don't even know if I asked the question.
You did, because you talked a bit about the type of that he was a performative kid, which makes sense. A lot of us were but this is also not like an unusual story. There's this comedian who through this show, his name was Dick Davey, and I was trying to uncover his real identity because Dick Davey was a stage name, although I wasn't sure of that. Long story short, when I uncovered this guy who's got a supposed Arkansas accent, it turns out he's a Jewish kid from Manhattan whose dad was a rabbi, and whose dad expected him to also be a rabbi because his dad had been a rabbi. And so, but it's always, and there's I've talked to his family, and it's not clear about how religious or a-religious he was, so I'm not sure how much of that turned him to be a performer, but it is always interesting when there's this assumption, or this is just like, well, Cleavon's probably going to become a preacher, and then he's like, it's maybe not a disappointment, but like, okay, well, it makes sense. If he's not going to be a preacher, he's going to perform, because they are just so similar. His magnetism is ridiculous. Right.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know that it was heartbreaking for my mom more than my dad.
Okay.
When I think the fact of not about him being an actor, but the fact that it was taking him away from her, from San Diego, and now he's going into New York, the big city, and whatever little my parents knew about it, they knew that we're nervous. I just don't want our son to go away, and he's going to be in New York. And they were key, but I'd never blame them, because I was part of the key. When I graduated from high school, Cleavon wanted me to come to live with him in New York, and he was going to pay for me to go to Juilliard's School of Music. Do you hear me when I say that?
Are you kidding me?
I was dating, thought I was in love, asked me, did I ever marry this dude? Asked me whatever, is he in my life today? No.
Right.
And my first thing was like, oh, he said, you've got to come. This is the top school, you got to come, because you've got the voice, we want to just continue to develop it and give you and I'm sure he told my mom and dad, they were so glad. They weren't that happy that I was all in love and tied up with this guy and had my focus all out of whack, but they, at that point, I know in their heart of hearts, was like, thank God for that boy that she's not going to end up marrying, but thank God that's why she kind of was like iffy about going. And he was so pissed off at me. He's like, oh, okay, you're just going to miss out. I said, well, I'm going to college. I'm going to San Diego State University. I'm going to major in music. He said, no, that's different. I'm talking about Juilliard's. Are you hearing me? So
wow.
Anyway, yeah.
Wow.
So for him, that was something that they kind of, my mom more than my dad, because dad, usually most fathers are like, yeah, go get him, go do what you got to do, you know. She was sad a little bit, but she got over it because he made a point of trying to always keep in touch. But then that created a problem because while he was gone and busy, mom had to understand that he can't be calling you every day.
Right.
He's rehearsing. He's trying to read his line, study his line, all of that stuff. So it's not going to be, he just doesn't call and I don't, oh my God.
I mean, that's what moms expect. And I get it though. Like that had to have been, gosh, yeah, because it sounds like you were very tight knit, regardless of the gap, though. Regardless of the gap, if your mom was that, for lack of a better word, clingy, you must have been a pretty tight knit family.
Yeah, very tight knit family.
Yeah,
very, very tight knit.
I'm always curious about the things that bring family together or keep the family together. Obviously, like I didn't grow up with religion, but it is an obvious thing that I know keeps families together and is so hugely important. Obviously, it was important to your family. Was there anything, the thing that we end up talking about on this show that I think for some people probably replaces religion is comedy or performance? Is there anything that was in the house, any music or comedy in the house? Like, did you have comedy records? Did you have anything you guys would listen to together?
No, because we were all such entertainers. We entertained everybody. It was that kind of thing. If mom and dad, if they had people over for a dinner, or if it was during the holidays and people were over, or it didn't even have to be a special event, I could always you could be confident that my mom would say, DeEtta, come here. I want you to sing for them. So, and it got to a point where even though I loved to sing, so I was kind of like a little showboaty like that. So I wasn't the kid was like, oh, mom. I wasn't shy.
Right.
Wasn't shy. So I'd say, okay. And I would be like 9 years old or something, 8 years old. And okay, what do you want me to sing? Whatever you want to sing. And I think it wouldn't take me long, and I'd start singing, and they were all like, oh, it might be a gospel song, or it could be a secular song, something that my little mind would remember from hearing on the radio, an R&B song. Sure. I never liked the blues, ever. Okay. Even as I grew up and began to work and be on the road with bands, we had other singers. We had a guy who was a lead singer, and then myself and another, it was a group called Sweet Salvation. It wasn't a gospel group, but they called themselves Sweet Salvation. And I was like, I don't do blues well. Yeah. So you guys pick all the other songs. I want to bring songs that bring life and love and encouragement. And be up. So they had an issue. I think I did one blues song, and I don't even think I took the lead on it, because I told them I don't want to do the blue, but I did some background. So the other girl in the group, we were like a Tony Orlando and Don. You're too young for that. You don't know about that. Are.
No, I know who Tony. I mean, I didn't grow up with them, but I know who they are.
Yeah. So we were kind of like a group like that, and the song was, and it started out like why I didn't like it. It started out with the song was, "Have you ever had the blues? Sit alone and just cry all day." I'm like, no.
I can't handle it. No.
Not doing that one. Nope. Anyway.
You know what? I respect that. I respect the heck out of that, because I'm a person who, I interview a lot of comedians. I am a comedian myself on a level, not a stand-up, but I do other kind of comedy. And I haven't run into this a lot when I interview comedians, but I hear other comedians interviewed, and they'll say, oh, yeah, I can't really watch comedy. I'm like, what? What are you talking about? What did you get into this business for? Are you insane? It's one of those, like, are you just sitting watching dramas all day? Because to me, watching a ton of dramas is the equivalent, I think, for you, of performing the blues. I can't deal. I don't have time for this. I need
Yeah.
as much elevation as I can during the day. Thanks so much. Life is difficult as it is.
You're right. And I love drama, but people look at
Sure.
me like I'm crazy. I like comedy, but I don't do a lot of comedy. It's not that I don't like it. It's just
Sure.
not my genre. It's just not what gets my attention. But you give me thrillers,
Yeah.
sci-fi,
Sure.
horror.
Yeah.
They're like, what? I said, oh my God. I love all that. My son and I love to go to movies. I love the Marvel. I love all of that. Avengers.
Yeah.
And
fun.
again, well, it's not out anymore. They had a series called, I think it's coming back, Dexter. I don't know.
Oh, sure. Yeah.
I was like, what is wrong with you? And I even said, God, what is wrong with me? I can sit and people are like, how do you watch that stuff? I said, it's intriguing to me. It's not that I want to kill somebody or do like Dexter, chop them up and put them in a Ziploc bag, or True Blood, the vampire. It's not that, but I love the thrillers, the stuff like that. I just finished on was it Hulu, Netflix, and Hulu, Manifest. It's like amazing.
Really?
Okay, you didn't ask for all that, but
but I love it. No, but I love it. These are the kinds of things that get you into somebody's brain. I love it. I love this stuff. I mean, what? Okay, well, actually, that does beg the question. If you know, what kind of stuff was Cleavon into? What kind of stuff did he enjoy? Because I can't assume he only liked comedies and he only liked musicals. I'm curious if you got any thoughts on what he liked.
He loved. That's the thing. He loved drama, movies, and I can't remember some of the ones. He was always saying, I love doing comedy. Most of the stuff that they booked me for, or that I am cast for, it's comedic. He said, but they need to see the other side of me.
Sure.
That's when, and I think he probably told his agent, like, you guys can send me out for other auditions or whatever, and that's when I first saw him as, Equal, but Not Justice. It was Sidney Poitier and, it went way, Separate, but Not Equal.
Okay.
I think that was, Separate, but Not Equal, I believe. So that was one of those type of drama. It was not comedy, but you'd see him in Grease Lightning, and you'd see him in episodes of 227 and
Sure.
all in the Family and he did very, very well. Dear John. In fact, he got an Emmy. I think an Emmy. For Dear John. I'm trying to.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're absolutely right. I was annoyed that I did, because I loved that show, but I was a little kid. My parents would not let me watch Blazing Saddles until I was a certain age. So I didn't know who he was when I first saw that. Yeah. No. You're waiting a bit.
So the Emmy, in fact, the Emmy, now that I remember, the Emmy that he won for Dear John was it was not it was the pre-show for the Emmys. And so I had been invited. I worked at CBS at the time, and was invited to, they didn't know that he was my brother, because I wasn't that type of person that walked around, oh, did you know that? People would find it out. They'd stumble upon it,
Sure.
or they'd go and try to Google me up, and they're Googling for information about me, and they see something like that might pop up in one of their Googles,
Sure.
They'll come back to me, somebody that maybe I've known for a couple of years. You never told me that Cleavon Little was your brother. And I'd say, why would I have to tell you that Cleavon Little is my brother? But anyway, so I was invited to the Emmy, and we're sitting, my husband and I, sitting at the table. And I forgot, it was in Century City. I forgot, at the big hotel. It wasn't at the Beverly Hills Hotel. I can't remember. So we're sitting, and they're doing all the pre-show awards. And so I knew Cleavon wouldn't be there. He knew he was nominated. I knew it. I said, well, who do you want me to thank if you win? He said, I'm not going to win. I said, well, send me something just in case. Little did he know. And I'm glad I wrote down, he said, okay, just thank and he thanked all of that. And then I added in my little stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And because he was doing a play, I'll never forget, he was doing a play in Alabama.
Mm-hmm.
So he was starring in a play there. So he could, so we're all sitting at the table and they get to the category, and he was in the category with Sammy Davis Jr. was in it. And so they were reading off and they said, in Cleavon Little, and they said, and the Emmy goes to Cleavon Little. And I was like, and and my husband looked at me, I jump up from the table, I had my little notes there, I start running, and my husband cracks up even to this day. He said, because the dress that I had on was just popping. They had the light, because I was running, I wasn't sitting up the front, so I was like running, and he said, your hair was, because my hair was straightened out, your hair was flying. He said, it was a moment that I wish, he said, and the lights were popping off. It was a bronze, silver, metallic blue, tight fitting dress, and I'm trying to run with,
oh my gosh.
And I was like, oh, this is so great. I mean, and I said, okay, get yourself together, sister, get it together. And I went on to say, if he were here, if he told me to thank, and I read off, and I said, and of course we thank the Emmys, we thank everybody, and I said that. And he's not going to believe this. I mean, he's sorry he couldn't be here. He's starring in a play, and he said, And so I went to one. They handed it to me. I actually still have it.
I was going to ask. I was wondering where that was. Great. I love it.
Yeah. So went in the back and took pictures. I think I have a picture, one of the pictures that they took with, how they take you in the back and blah, 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 blah.
Sure.
When I got back to the table, I called him on this. I called him, and he said, what? I said, you won. He said, shut up. And I said, no. He said, oh my God, call me back. She said, you're not telling the truth. I said, I'm telling you the truth. And my husband was standing there with me, because I had walked out of the ballroom, and my husband said, she's telling you the truth. It was like he didn't believe me. He didn't want to believe me. And that was that. It just blew him away. And me too.
Yeah, of course. Okay, so, all right, he's up against, okay, you know what? I know Jack Gilford's son. He was up against Jack Gilford on the Golden Girl. That's a good series of episodes. Leslie Nielsen, a gentleman named Robert Picardo from Star Trek, and absolutely Sammy Davis Jr. is the other one. Holy cow.
Yeah.
Come on. I mean, come on.
Right, come on is the right word.
Wow.
I was impressed with Leslie Nielsen. I mean,
right.
Yeah, Sammy, I said, okay, but I don't.
Sure,
okay.
sure.
Yeah, but, I loved, he was a good performer. He was a good stage man. He was a good Vegas man. I've seen him in some stuff, because he and Frank Sinatra and the crew, the whole crew. There was three of them. It was Sammy, Frank Sinatra, and I cannot remember
Dean Martin, usually.
Oh, yeah. See, Yeah, but anyway, so that was pretty cool.
That's great. Yeah, I mean, his TV career is I think, again, it's all before, because the sad thing is he passed away before I would have ever even known what Blazing Saddles was. So like, I'm now having to learn all the stuff that I probably saw him in and didn't know who I was seeing. You know what I mean? The guy who would blow my mind. Can we talk about Blazing Saddles? We got to get into it. Here's the thing. There has never, in maybe the history of protagonists coming on screen. Now, don't get me wrong, it starts with him early, but when he's in that outfit, there has never been a shining, more beautiful person on camera than when he comes in on that horse. And it's like, I didn't know what I just signed up for. I did not know what this movie was until now. I'm like, and he's so good anyway for the first 15 minutes, but then all of a sudden it's like, oh no, we're reintroducing you to Cleavon Little. So
yes. Good. Oh my God. And like you said, just that beautiful picture. We have a picture of him, because when he passed, there were a lot of things that before he passed, when he was on his sick bed, we say, he would say, take that, he would tell me things, take that picture. You can, and most of the family members, my brother and they all said, you have more space. You have the house, where you can house all of this and it makes sense. That's kind of
Sure.
so, and it's great to be, like you said, close knit, but that close where you're not fighting. No, I want that. I want that. No.
Yeah.
And because one of the things he said before he passed, he said, they're all things.
Yeah.
It's just things.
Yeah.
Don't fight over things. And I kind of looked at him and I said, what makes you, because he and I would always bounce back off of each other. I said, what makes you think your stuff is so great that we're going to fight over it? Oh, calm down, brother. You know. But anyway, so I do have a picture of him sitting on the horse.
That's great.
I do have framed his star that he received in the Hollywood Walk of Fame. I have that. It's on. We have a room in our house where we call it the green room, but the green room has, the walls are full of pictures of family, all of his stuff. We have tons of just posters. I have some Blazing Saddle posters that one of my coworkers' husband worked on the show, on the graphics, and she gave me he gave me all the original stuff, which we got.
Are you kidding me? Oh,
right.
Man. You just
right.
Wow. Okay.
I cried. It was again a coworker who I had no idea, and she had no idea until later. We worked together for about 8-9 years, but midway through, she discovered that, and she says, "You're kidding me." She said, "You got to be kidding me. My husband worked on that movie and and I said, really?" So we chat about it, and about a month later, she brings it. They're rolled up. They're the flyer, the big.
Yeah.
And she brought it in, and I just.
Yeah, of course.
Oh my God.
To speak to that, I will say I can't hang it in here yet because I don't have room or the height. I have a Subway poster of Blazing Saddles. It's not in great shape, but it's about as tall as me. And I will tell you, I've pored over the details because you can look and see all the detail that was put into just painting this ridiculously goofy poster. And it's beautiful. It's gorgeous.
Yeah,
it's so much work. That's great. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's just amazing, and he's always here because he's always in our house, and even with the rest of the family, because there are so many items, so many things. You know,
Sure.
He had given me, but this was before, of course, way before he even got sick, and I still have it today. The most beautiful baby grand piano, and I guess he would just buy stuff. I think I'm going to learn how to play the piano. So he gets this, and I'm looking at it right now because I'm in our piano room. I could turn around, but I'm not going to go through all that. But it was a black, beautiful baby grand, you know, you put the top of the whole thing. And I'm like, how many times have you played that? This is before he got sick. Don't worry about it. But if somebody comes over and they know how to play, or if I'm having a party and I hire a pianist, they can come in, they already have it right here. I said, oh, okay. So anyway, we have so many things that even as I'm talking to you that I'm looking at right now. So many pieces that we have in our home that keep him close to our heart.
That's so sweet. I love hearing that stuff. That's wow. A piano that he didn't even play.
Right.
When Blazing Saddles came about, was it something he told you about? Like, because Mel Brooks was not a household name just yet. Like, this is the movie that kind of did it because he'd done other stuff. He'd done the producers, obviously, but this is the big one. So, like, did he talk to you about the movie as he was making it? Any of his projects, but this one specifically?
Yes, he talked about most of them, because most of the time we talk, I said, what are you doing now? And he said, I'm working on this play, and he'd tell me the name, Midsummer Night's Dream. You know, he did some Shakespearean stuff, a lot of stuff I didn't know, just like you and the world do not know. And some things, when I go back and look at maybe IMDb or his Wikipedia or pull up his name, and I'm like, I didn't know he did that.
Yeah.
And then I have those old, what do they call them? We call them videos, the ones you pop in. And I have like a lot of his movies and some of the stage plays. But he would talk about things, but not a whole lot. because I know then just as well now. I mean, afterwards we talked about, but when you're doing stuff, you have to do that NDA. You can't talk about this until after it's out. But after it came out, and then also I got some of the raw. He had it footage of things that were not in the movie, honey.
Goodness gracious!
You think it was your mama didn't let you. Your mama still wouldn't let you watch it right now.
Oh no!
Because some of the stuff, I'm not even go into it. He told me, he said, "Oh well, this is the line that was supposed to go there when she said it's true, it's true, it's true." And I'll leave that for your imagination, Jason. And so they have a lot of things going on in there. I said, yeah, because some people don't even want their kids to watch it because they're sitting around the campfire farting.
Yeah.
I said, that is classic. I just oh my God, I was screaming through that movie the whole doggone time. And he said, let me whip this out on you. And of course, you know the movie. You said, right. Right. And all of the other stuff that during that day, Jason, when we fast forward, it might be the reason why they're still airing it. That was a real sensitive, edgy, all that you could name movie. That Mel Brooks, and that thing came out with a vengeance and did very well and is still telling a story today. But he didn't talk about it again before, because I'm sure with you asking me that, I'm thinking probably because he just couldn't. And he replaced, because there was some stuff going on with Richard Pryor, with the drugs and on all the other stuff. So that was truly you don't open your mouth. And so be it,
Yeah, I've run through it several times in my head. I'm like, what would that movie have been with Richard Pryor? I love Richard Pryor, but what would that movie have been? It's not the same thing. It's not, I don't know. And honestly, I'm going to tell you, I'll say this. I'm betting for white audiences, he would have been too acerbic. You have to have the sweetest, best looking man on the planet walk in instead, because white audiences are already apparently afraid of black folks. I mean, that's how they always treated him. You know what I mean? So it's like, oh God. So it has to be the gentlest spirit on the planet walking on screen so that they'll take it seriously.
So that was ordained. When I say that we have things, when you talk about the family coming together and being faith-based family, there are things that are just destined for you. And I couldn't, just like you said, I couldn't imagine seeing, because he's goofy. He's a comedian.
Yeah, absolutely.
Richard Pryor, not only is he goofy and a comedian, he looks goofy.
Sure.
I mean, so absolutely. You wanted somebody who would have the finesse and that look and is beautiful and poised, all of that.
Yeah.
Which is natural for him. That was not his character.
Right.
But he brought it to it. I just couldn't imagine when I think back.
He walks like a dancer too. It's one of those things you can notice. Was he a dancer for a long time? Because the only clip I've seen from Pearly is not that complicated to dance. It's great because it's him, and I'll watch it. Doesn't matter. But what was his experience in dance?
Not a dancer.
Really?
I mean, you get him in a nightclub and you get him in a party, and he can two-step and bounce to the left and do a little whatever. But as far as what was left on that stage, what he put on that stage, that was work for him.
Wow.
Trust me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's impressive. Again, you talked about poise, and I'm like, he kind of walks like a dancer. That's really funny that he wasn't. He was trained only. That's so much work. I have zero ability to dance, so I respect anybody who can pull anything. Right. From that. Wow.
And they probably would have given him even more steps, but because if you notice some of the steps, if you see the movie, you'll see it. They were mainly just side to side, taking a little step, taking the leg up, like you probably see on the album where newfangled, just dun, this kind of sidestepping stuff. But there was nothing intense. You know? And on the heels of Pearly, and I know we don't have a whole lot of time, but there is a writer and a producer here. There's several of them here in Atlanta. But she came to me and she said, I just loved Pearlie. Mm-hmm. I have this vision. She said, I want to bring Pearlie to Atlanta. Bring it, meaning to cast it here. She said, and it might be on a small scale. I don't know if we're going to do an intimate theater or something big. She said, but I'm working on it and I want you to be in it. And I said, oh, wow. And she said, and I want to get your permission because we know you're talented. We're not just bringing you here just because we know we can use your brother's name, mm-hmm. but we want to position it like the sister of, and mm-hmm. playing the character that I played in there. And I said, I would be honored. Mm-hmm. But opening night, I mean, we did rehearsals. We went through rehearsals. The guy they cast for my brother was amazing during rehearsal. But opening night, I could hardly contain myself, especially at the end where there's the big dialogue mm-hmm. that actually brings a whole thing together. And I remembered that, of course, I couldn't forget that at my brother's homegoing, when he transitioned and we had his funeral, the people that help us, the family, put things together, did a video and they put it up. And in the video, he's riding, he rides off in the sunset. I'm getting a little emotional right mm-hmm. now. Mm-hmm. In the movie, he rides off into the sunset in Blazing Saddle. And they take him riding off in the sunset, and then the dialogue from Pearlie, where he talks about, he's the pastor in the church talking to the congregation, and he's telling them to be kind to yourself, love, and he's going on and he's preaching, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, oh, and I just, of course, it fit the role that I had because people in the audience could see my tears, and the majority of them knew that I was his sister. And he says, and don't forget, and he said, don't forget to be something out, to be nice to the white folk. And he's going through all of that, and he's riding off into the sunset while that dialogue is going on, sitting in this massive church at his homegoing service. Mm-hmm. Can you imagine how that wiped everybody out? Mm-hmm. So,
gosh.
Yeah, that was
wow,
something else. But
I bet. Oh my goodness.
Yeah.
I watched a very brief interview with him around the time not around the time, it was the time he was doing I'm Not Rappaport. And a lot of it was they're talking about, hey, how do you prepare to play like an 80-year-old man for parts of it? And he was talking about like basing some of it off of your father. And like, he's like, he worked on some of the physicality in the voice. But he was saying that like he didn't think that when he did Blazing Saddles that he was mature enough to do enough with that role. I would disagree, but I understand that on a personal level, like he must have felt that way. And then at the same time, he also said he never, like this is such a big thing to say, he never knew happiness until he moved back to New York to do theater, which is like, wow, he really needed it. Yes.
He loved New York, I tell you that.
Yeah.
To the point where we had to say, you were born in Oklahoma. He said, I said, that, and your home is San Diego. He said, my home is New York.
Yeah.
Dude, you're disowning your home. I'm going home. When he would come home to San Diego or whatever to visit, you are at home. No, I'm going home. He never said I'm going back to New York. Yeah. He loved New York, and he made me love it. I wouldn't want to live there, but every time that I went and I would visit with him, I loved it. I said, because he was right in the heart of the city. It was like, I'm like, are we gonna drive somewhere? Why are we gonna walk everywhere? It's too hot out. He said, no. And of course, I remember my first time there. I thought that the pedestrians had the right of way. That's all I've ever known in my life. And I remember he was standing talking to someone who had stopped him on the street. We were out shopping. He was taking me shopping. And we were out there on this, and so I was standing there waiting for him, and I'm like, he's talking too long. I'm saying this, I'm just going to go across the street. And I went to start walking across the street, and I was telling him, I'm going, and he says, get, he's yelling at me. And I'm like, and I ran back, and he says, girl, you do not have the right of way here. I don't even care if your light's green. They don't care about you. These cab drivers, they are. And I'm like, okay, well, you live and you learn. You almost died and didn't learn, you know. Anyway, so yeah, like you said, New York, he loved New York. He loved the stage, and he would always get a little nervous when he was either auditioning for something, be it TV or feature, and not all the time, but something that he would really want, he would call me and he'd say, okay, I'm up for this, blah, 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 blah. And I really want it. Let's pray. Yeah. You know, people didn't really know that about him.
Sure.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. He in this one interview, he's very soft spoken. He's also being asked like a lot of questions that are, I think, the kind of thing a white person asks a black actor. Can you please encompass all of Black history in 5 minutes? Can you just tell me everything, you know? And so he's like very soft spoken and trying to like gently, but do you think he's generally like this soft spoken of a person? Because it sounds like that nervousness you're talking about, was that an all-encompassing thing? Was that a big part of who he was? Was that a big part of his energy? Or was he not generally a nervous person?
He's not generally a nervous person.
Okay.
But he was pretty much always a soft-spoken person.
Okay.
And because he always had to be so big all the time, you know?
Yeah.
The soft-spoken person could come from, if I was trying to analyze it, because, well, you get us at home and the family and all of us, he's going to be loud. No, I remember, girl, when you blah, 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 and you couldn't pay your bill and you had to come and ask me for some money. I said, I really never really asked you a lot for money. So we get back in that banter. Well, you did. And then one of the other siblings would say, yeah, she's the only one that would, because I was the one that was just like, oh, I'm going to flying high now, without pot to piss in, you know, just so, okay, you're going to do all that. You need to get a job first, because my brother would say, I worked while I was in New York, even though I said I had a scholarship, but I still had to pay for my room. Mm-hmm. And I had to have some money for an apartment, you know, and stuff like that. So I worked and did stage and did everything else for a while until things got really great, where he, you know, got him a couple of places in LA, in Los Angeles, and had his place in New York. But yeah, he was a soft spoken, and but there was, you know, when somebody can be soft spoken, but there's fire.
Oh yeah. That's another thing I could see in the interview. He wanted to say more, I thought.
Yeah.
But
right.
Maybe.
That's right. All of what you just said. Yeah.
There's a quick thing where he's talking about just, again, he's trying to have to encompass, like, is Hollywood and stage integrated enough? The answer is always going to be no. But he's like, well, we're doing okay. He's like, I like seeing Eddie Murphy, Richard Pryor. He's like, but they're comedians who can act. And that's when the fire starts to burn, where he wants to be like, let's see more actors who are actors, who aren't just comedians. And like, that's when you can notice a slow, low burning fire that wants to come out. And I probably didn't until that night when he got on stage.
Right. Because he want to be offensive, because that word would get back. It's like, those are my brothers, you know, and I'm not going to be out. I'm not going to let anybody trap me into talking bad or not supporting, you know. He would get frustrated though with things. I'd never really, to be honest with you, I'd never really heard him badmouth or say anything. I'm trying to think about any actor, because I don't think I ever really asked him acting wise, and things that he would say to me would be things that he would trust that I wasn't going to go out there, because I knew the nature of the climate, that all somebody wants to do is to hear something negative so they can run back. But to be very honest with you, and this is not trying to cover, as I'm trying to reflect and think, I never, and that gets me emotional too, and that's a good thing for you to bring up. I'd never hear him say anything really bad about any actor.
Yeah.
No matter what color, for that matter.
Sure.
As I'm thinking, you're going to have me thinking now.
I will just say, if you want to, him and Gene Wilder are one of the best pairings that's ever appeared on in films. And I don't know, it's one of the many reasons I love Blazing Saddles. One of the many reasons a few years ago I was very excited to do Blazing Saddles on stage, uncomfortable as I was having to say some of the dialogue, but it was a lot of fun doing the show. That movie means a lot to me. Cleavon Little means a lot to me, but he means so much more now that it's an honor that you were willing to speak to me about his life, because it's not my business unless you make it my business, and it's very nice of you. It's very kind of you. Yes,
he loved Gene Wilder.
I bet.
I just wanted to say that.
I bet. They just seem like two sweet sons of guns who just, I don't know, they must have clicked, because to work that fast when Gene Wilder was also hired at the last minute, like, come on.
I mean, you would think, that they were best friends, and they could have been. Now that I don't know that much, but I do know that when he would talk about, if I would ask him about, said he is a hoot. We just played off of the chemistry was so amazing. He was that way with Dear John. Okay.
Judd Hirsch.
Oh, now that one I knew was his best friend.
Really?
When I say best friend,
yeah,
I know that. And that's not just because Cleveland, that's me. Sometimes we throw that sometimes we as people, we throw that, that's my best friend, that's my BFF. No, it's
Absolutely.
Not. You haven't talked to that person in 5 years, and you don't even know where they're at right now. How can that be your BFF all of a sudden? But Judd Hirsch, when I tell you, all the way to the very end, and that's why I know Cleveland didn't want to tell anybody. That's why he came home to California when he got really sick. He didn't he wanted to be home as opposed to in New York. And he didn't want anybody to know. And I think many people today are maybe angry at him because they didn't have any closure, because they didn't even know he was sick. And the next thing they hear, it's all blasted out there. It's in the news, on the radio, that he's gone. And they're like, what are they talking about? This is a joke. And so, but there were those that he would call up. And I remember the day that when the day before he passed on, he was at home, he said, dial Judd, his number is in my book. Dialed him, put the phone to his ear. I can't remember if he had gotten that week where he couldn't really hold the phone. He may have, and he said, I'm about to check out of here. This is what he told everybody that he would have us to call. He said, I'm about to check out of here. And they would say, what are you talking about? And he would go on to explain to them. And I'm there just pretty much almost crying with every call that he made me hold the phone to his ear. Even with my dad, he didn't want my dad.
Oh my gosh.
And my mom had already passed and my dad had remarried. So he didn't want my dad and my stepmom at that time to know.
Wow.
And my dad didn't believe him because my dad was comedic too. My dad was always a jokester. Like, boy, stop playing.
Yeah.
And he would say, and I asked, what did Dad say? He said, boy, stop playing. And that's when my brother responded to him and he said, I'm going to see mama before you are. Meaning, I'm going to heaven, mom. And so then I think my stepmom got on the phone because I think my dad had said, he's crazy. He's talking crazy. But with Judd Hirsch, back to Judd Hirsch, he said, Judd, this is what's happening. And I need for you to take care of take care, not financially, but
Sure.
take care of my family, because I want to have a memorial in New York, because they're going to do one in California, but I want it in New York. I want you to pay for the flights for my family member. He was saying this to Judd Hirsch, and take care of their hotels.
Yeah.
Basically, just saying, I want you. He didn't even break it all down as clearly, but that's what happened. He said, I want you to get them there. I want you, and I don't know if he even later, even about the yacht, because my brother was cremated, that he wanted his ashes to be spread in the Hudson River. And so he just wanted the family to be on the yacht, the boat, the yacht, and to go out. And it was difficult for me because, they know I'm the one that usually is kind of the spokesperson and the little singer, and let's have a little service here.
Sure, yeah.
And I just said, I can't. I went back into what do they call it? The galley, and sat down, and
wow.
I said, I can't even watch that. I can't.
Sure.
But Judd took care of us, and the people that were there that someone helped to coordinate all of who they could contact there in New York. And I remember Holly Robinson Peete she sang.
Wow.
I can't remember the song, but her and Dolores Robinson were very close. Holly Robinson's mom, they were very, very close. He was like a dad to Holly, and a brother to Dolores Robinson. But
wow. So
that all being said, he and Judd, so much so that when Judd got the Tony for I'm Not Rappaport, he made my brother was like, no, this is he made my brother come out on stage, and he said, we're sharing this. This is our Tony. Because if you saw the play, it was really the two of them.
Sure.
I'm Not Rappaport. It was just the two, and they had a few people in the park, but it was just the two of them. So.
Wow.
Anyway, my yap, boy.
No, that's not yapping. That's some stuff. Again, stuff that I, none of my business till you make it mine, and I very much appreciate it. That's very sweet of you. This has been so kind and wonderful and beautiful of you. I would be remiss if I didn't ask you to tell people where they can find you online, find your work. Where's your stuff?
My stuff, you can, if you want to check me out, you just make sure you type the right name in there and don't type the wrong name like I did on that Cash App and was able to retrieve the money that I sent to somebody else. But you can find me. You want to know a little bit more about me, IMDb. I'm on all social media platforms. My name, DeEtta West, on Facebook. Follow me there. You can keep up with some of the stuff that I'm doing that I can share, and stuff right now that I cannot share because I have this, but it'll be coming out. You can find me on Twitter, same thing, at DeEtta West. You can find me on Instagram and LinkedIn. Those are the main social medias. And again, you just Google me up. You can find out what you need to know and check out some of my stuff. Go to Amazon Prime and go and check out The Glorias. It's a story about Gloria Steinem starring Julianne Moore and some great cast. Bette Midler, a great cast. I do like to put that plug in because it was a very special movie. I play Miss Green. They have me aged up a little more. So check it out. Up TV, if you watch Up TV or Aspire TV. During Christmas time, there's a franchise of Christmas movies that they run, kind of a marathon that you'll see me in during the holidays. So
love it. And
some up and coming stuff that Welcome Home, Roscoe Jenkins. Some great stuff. The Preacher's Kid, starring Greg Allen Williams, who is an amazing actor and my acting coach. You remember him from Baywatch, Greg Allen Williams.
Sure.
Yeah, and he plays my husband in several movies. And so just there you have it. There's and above all that, I'm just grateful that I am at the age of 71 and still operating in my calling and still in my right mind and still taking these gifts that God has lavishly poured on me. And I'm not It ain't over until the fat lady sings, and there ain't no fat lady about to sing in my life right now.
I'll also remind people, go buy Rocky 3 on Blu-ray. Give a little extra cash to DeEtta. That little bit's going to go to DeEtta. She'll get a check. Come on now. Buy a case of them. Buy a case of Rocky 3 Blu-rays.
Yes,
thank
do
you
that.
so much. Thank you. This has been an honor, legitimately. This has been beautiful. Thank you guys for listening. And as always, have a good thing. Comedy on Vinyl is a production of StolenDress Entertainment. It is produced by Mike Warden and is hosted and edited by Jason Klom. Our theme song was composed and performed by Richard Levinson. You can email us at podcast@comedyonvinyl.com. You can also send snail mail to StolenDress Entertainment, P.O. Box 805, Burbank, California, 91503. Subscribe to Comedy on Vinyl on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, and anywhere else you can find podcasts. Give us a 5-star rating and write us a review. It helps. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at Comedy on Vinyl, or find everything in one place at comedyonvinyl.com. A major portion of Comedy on Vinyl has been underwritten by Stand Up Records. Please visit standuprecords.com for all your comedy needs and tune in to the new Stand Up Records channel available on the Roku, where you can also find select episodes of this podcast. Visit StolenDress.com to listen to our other podcasts, watch videos, and imbibe freely of our multimedia content going back 15 plus years. StolenDress Entertainment.
Hey, it's my turn.